Welcome to your Around the Peninsula. I'm Airman First Class Devin Notestein. Sometimes siblings get annoyed by one another. Instead of going into timeout or separating themselves, this group decides to run into a fight. Army Sergeant Tan Pham shows us brothers battling it out.
2, 1, game on, game on, game on!
Through the Warrior Adventure Quest program, U.S. and ROK soldiers from the Joint Security Area get to enjoy a beautiful autumn afternoon in the woods. But this isn't your typical day of camping.
We have different types of guns. We have different terrain.
The perfect setup for a huge game of paintball.
It's a really good opportunity for them to actually use what they learned from their tactical discussion and actually commit themselves into combat.
They are the ones who defend what's commonly referred to as freedom's final frontier. So a day of fun is just what the doctor ordered.
This was a much-deserved break. We've been working ourselves very hard, like we always do. You can just see these guys just enjoying themselves. They're screaming, having fun, yelling at each other, just trying to enjoy the day.
As the unit's senior medic, Sergeant D'Angelo knows morale is part of a soldier's well-being. He devoted a lot of his time to coordinating this event with MWR's Outdoor Recreation.
We normally have combined tactical training or other live fire exercises, but not this sort of a fun exercise. So I think it's a really, really good opportunity for both ROK and U.S. soldiers to actually have a good time and make good memories.
Army Sergeant Tan Pham, Warrior Base, Korea.
Contact MWR's Outdoor Recreation to see if your unit qualifies to do a Warrior Adventure Quest. Actors aim to entertain through stories we may not witness on a day-to-day basis, the kind of stories that touch those uncomfortable feelings when someone watches it. Staff Sergeant Zach Lopez shows us exactly what these actors are trying to accomplish.
Hey Lexus, how's it going?
Steven, how are you?
I'm doing good.
The situation appears as a typical
right,
social
but
encounter
you
from the
doing cool?
outside looking in.
It's about that time.
My room's right in there. You want to go?
Much like the beginnings
sure
of a
you
lot
wanna
of
go all the way
sexual
up to your
assaults.
Oh my God.
You want to come in and watch
That's
Frozen?
My favorite
We are
Let's go and watch Frozen.
volunteers from the Wolfpack community.
We'll go
What we do is we
we'll
act
watch the
out
movie, okay?
sexual assault scenarios.
Frozen.
What it is, it's more or
For
less
sure,
the
for sure.
the shock value. If you were to walk upon one of the scenes that we have, or if you were to witness or even to see one of the scenes that we have that they've all been rehearsing, then I think there's some things in there that people can actually relate to. We try to make it every day, things that could possibly happen to any airman on base. And we just want to bring awareness to the community.
Let me show you how this goes real quick. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. What is your D-Rose? And oh my gosh, who is this?
The Sexual Assault Theater Group is a unique, out-of-the-box program created with the shock and awe effect as a key principle.
The next part of this scene would be you two having a conversation about how much of a creep he is.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Meant to be extreme in both actions and language, and there's no question why.
It's still happening. One victim is actually too many, and it's still happening. Even with all of the training that we have, even with all the awareness campaigns that we do,
Oh, yes, she did.
it's still
Blocker.
happening.
You better watch it. You better stay out of my way, Block.
Why don't you just get the hell out of here?
Blocker, I thought I told you to shut up, but I always did what I want.
Staff Sergeant Zach Lopez, Kunsan Air Base, Korea.
Oh, sorry.
The Sexual Assault Theater Group performs for first-term Airmen Center students to help educate them on sexual assault prevention. When little kids walk on the beach, the game Walk in the Footsteps of the Person in Front of You can entertain them for hours. Senior Airman Emma Duff explains how one little kid grew up but still lives his life with the same rules as that simple game.
Their motto?
No air power without ground power.
Aerospace ground equipment, or AGE as most people call it, is one of those jobs you don't typically hear about. Technical Sergeant Lucas Wise, an AGE section lead, explains the significance of their career field.
AGE is pretty much the lifeline for the flight line. These planes, they require our equipment to be able to do hydraulic checks, load bombs, get power, ground power. Without us, it just wouldn't work. It's one big fine oil machine.
The Air Force's main mission is launching aircrafts and
air power, and my job really makes it possible for the Air Force to complete their mission.
Age mechanic Senior Airman Brandon Sharpley comes from a long line of military family members.
My mom was in the military, my dad was in the military, or my mom's still in the military. All my aunts and uncles, great uncles, grandfather, they're all in the military.
And keeping up his family's tradition is just what he's doing.
It's not a glamorous job, but I do the best to my ability so I can also keep my military history of my family intact and keep it well and keep it good.
While upholding his family's tradition, he also helps complete the Air Force's mission. Senior Airman Emma Duff, Osan Air Base, Korea.
The one and only age training program is at Shepherd Air Force Base. There is nothing like getting something brand new. That is what's going on for the teachers and students at the newly constructed elementary school at Camp Humphreys. Army Sergeant Frank Sanchez is at the school to tell us more.
It's another busy day of learning at Humphreys Central Elementary. The school has gone through many changes in a short amount of time. In the past, the elementary was divided into several different campuses. Now the students get their education under one roof.
In the previous years, we were all scattered around in many different campuses, so it was hard to walk back and forth with children from the cafeteria to the classroom.
The old elementary was comprised of redesigned soldier barracks, hardly the place to educate the hundreds of elementary students who call Camp Humphreys home. Dividing the campus meant dividing this little community. But now, thanks to this state-of-the-art facility, everything is coming together for the better.
We have a very supportive community here at Camp Humphreys. Our teachers are actively engaged in the learning process for our students. Our students, once they come here, they don't want to leave.
Right now, the school is at about 60% capacity, but that number will grow as families arrive every day to this bustling Army base under construction. Army Sergeant Frank Sanchez, Pyeongtaek, Korea.
Humphreys Central Elementary School is part of the Department of Defense Education Activity Pacific's Korea School District and is designed to accommodate up to 875 students. How do you set yourself apart from the rest? You become a Mangi Warrior. Army Sergeant Matt Cromer tells us about one warrior who stood out from the rest.
Not many people say yes to competing in a 58-hour grueling endurance test that pushes the body to its limits and tests the willingness of the mind. One particular competitor said yes, and in doing so, stood out. After the first day, Senior Master Sergeant Rolma Wood was the only female left in Mangi, with 2 days still to go.
Day one, you know, I just wanted to get started. Once we got started, it's probably the most challenging, tiring day of my life.
She continued to push herself constantly, putting one foot in front of the other. And when she was called to lead her team during an exercise, she rose to the occasion, becoming the only female to finish Mangi this year.
I think it's a great challenge. Anybody, doesn't matter if you're a female, male, I think come out and try and push yourself. I'm not, in the most physically fit female, but I think if you have the right attitude and motivation, and you're a team member, a team player, you can get through it.
I'm Army Sergeant Matt Cromer, somewhere, Korea.
On the last day after completing her final mission, she stood tall at graduation as she walked across the stage to receive her award for becoming a Mangi Warrior. That was your Around the Peninsula for Thursday, October 23rd. To see these stories and others, go to the AFN Pacific website or view them through the AFN Pacific app. From all of us at AFN, enjoy your evening.
Thank you.